The following is a hockey podcast out of Vancouver and Surrey, British Columbia. It'll only consist of a lot of puck talk and even more BS, or in actual words, banter and satire. Enjoy, and as always, go Canucks go.
No Carson Soucy, no problem. And will this be another game where Ian Cole scores in his own net? So many storylines going into Game 4, okay? A game that really matters in Edmonton. Let's do this on Locked On Canucks.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
People, we back doing this, and that's giving you Locked On Canucks. My name is Kyle Bowen. Trevor Beggs not with us really today, right? Quote unquote on really. He'll be talking to you in what, like 15 minutes? He did pre-record a segment talking about 3 players to watch in tonight's Game 4 matchup in Edmonton involving your Vancouver Canucks. Again, you're listening to Locked On Canucks. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for giving us the space to be giving us this West Coast bias, okay? Giving us this feeling, giving us this neighborhood type energy that we've been bringing all season long. And also one love to FanDuel, okay? Today's episode is brought to you by FanDuel. Make every moment count more right now. New customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet, okay? That's $150 with any winning $5 bet. Just visit FanDuel.com/locked-on, okay? People, man. The energy is different right now over here on the West Coast, the best coast of Canada, for real. Speaking of energy, okay, my dreams, my goals right now in this thing called life, they're obsolete. They don't matter, okay? Because the only goal that matters is getting my hands on a Stanley Cup, a.k.a. a dream that will physically never happen. But if you know what I'm saying, you know what I'm saying, okay? The Canucks, your Canucks, they're the only things that matter, or the only thing that matters right now. And man, oh man, they have a chance to do the unthinkable. And that's assassinate the Edmonton Oilers and this era of hockey for them. It's just the truth. Straight up. 2 wins away from doing the improbable. 2 wins away from getting to the Western Conference Finals. Now, 2 doesn't sound like a large number, right? Like 2 inches, 3 inches, for a lot of people, not including me, that's not a big number. It isn't. But man, oh man, getting 2 wins in a playoff series to finish it off is a daunting task, okay? A long road to get there is still right in front of us. This is going to be really tough. Speaking of which, the Canucks in the last 2 games pretty much outshot 2-1, and that's got to change. It really does. It's just the truth. And I know Calvin Pickard getting the start for the Oilers, right? 32 years old. A former goaltender in Europe. He's been on like 7 teams. Journeyman. It seems as if that's a move that's not only desperate for the Oilers, but not a good one. Because who is that guy? But remember, people, and it does count and it does matter. And I know Artur Shilovs is a lot younger. But man, oh man, it wasn't too long ago where the hockey world was saying the exact same thing. Goaltending in hockey, and especially in these Stanley Cup playoffs, is so unpredictable. Yes, Calvin Pickard is Calvin Pickard, but I don't think I'm stupid to say this. There's like a 15% chance that this guy balls out. Because again, we're talking about goaltending in the NHL playoffs. And the Canucks, over the last 2 games, especially in Game 3, outside of that first period, didn't really make it tough for either Calvin Pickard or Stuart Skinner, right? Not really. I think they had 5 shots in the last 40 minutes. Absolute domination, 5-on-5 from the Edmonton Oilers. And I hear the rhetoric, right? Oh, but what about the high danger scoring chances? Bro, if they're out shooting you 2-1, you're getting dominated, okay? It's just the truth. So that's got to change. Enough with that. You can survive that happening for 2 games, but man, oh man, you do not want to give the Oilers that much confidence, okay? You don't want to allow them to dominate. You don't want to allow them to win Game 4. And again, put 3 games together where they just outclass the team going into Game 5, going into a best of 3. That has to change now. The Canucks have to be a lot better. And I think I know a way for them to do that. And this goes back to Carson Soucy, right? Soucy suspended for 1 game for that cross-check, okay? It was bound to happen. That's the best player since Gretzky and he got a good licking on him, okay? It's just the truth. Out for one game, that means Noah Juleson is in the lineup. That means a lot more pressure is on that decor. With all that being said, why not just play Quinn Hughes a lot more? Straight up. If McDavid guys are playing 29 minutes a game, let's have Quinn Hughes do the same thing. Because isn't he that guy? Isn't he our generational player? And last time I checked, he is our captain, our alpha, our leader. Also, we got to note again, Quinn Hughes looked really good in Game 3. Yes, the Canucks were pinned for the majority of that game, but there was Quinn Hughes looking calm, poised, and like Quinn Hughes in the defensive zone. Let him build off of that and let him take on the load, okay? Instead of evening out this load and giving Noah Juleson and Ian Cole, who will be that third pairing, a lot of minutes, okay? For real. Let's not do that. It's only a one-game thing, and I think it's time for Quinn Hughes to rise up to that challenge. I think he can do it. I think this is the Quinn Hughes moment we've been waiting for in the playoffs, okay? Get him more involved in the game, get him playing a lot more minutes, get him transitioning the puck. And the next thing you know, I feel as if the Canucks offense will be more complete for 60 minutes, let alone just 40. Really, really excited to see that matchup. And I think Rick Tocchet is going to press that button. I don't think he's going to even out the minutes. I really don't think that's the case. I think he's going to load up on his top four, right? Zadorov, Myers, Hronek, Hughes. He's going to push that button a lot. And they're going to execute. I think we've gone game after game after game after game with seeing a lot of good Quinn Hughes, right? Some great Quinn Hughes. But how about that extraordinary? How about that Norris caliber type player? How about that special type player? How about putting the league on notice? And doing so by, quote unquote, shutting down that 5-man unit on the Oilers side and B, supplying more offense. Talk about it, right? Calvin Pickard. And that offensive or that defensive zone structure that Edmonton lacks. If Quinn Hughes is more engaged, has the puck a lot more, is playing more minutes, which equates to all of this, there's room for a lot of chaos to happen in the Oilers zone. I look at that Oilers defense in general, and I know they've, allowed us less than 20 shots in 2 straight games, and here I am saying this. I don't trust anything that team does defensively in the zone when they're pinned. I don't trust their goaltending too. There's room here for the Canucks to score a lot of goals. And going back to the whole minutes played thing, okay? Look at the time on attack. Look at the shot numbers over the last 2 games. And then look at the minutes played by McDavid, Draisaitl, Hyman, Bouchard, and Ekholm, okay? Probably the best 5-man unit in the NHL. If they're playing half the game, they are going to dominate. It is what it is. So let's match it by giving Quinn Hughes those minutes as well. I also got to bring this up too. Canucks fans, the hockey world. Maybe talking way too much ish on this note, okay? I've even had some group chats of mine saying this, right? There's no way that this amount of minutes being played by those 5 guys for the Oilers is sustainable. They can't beat us playing those guys in a long series, okay? For 30 minutes a game. That's not the truth. The Oilers only played 5 games in round 1. And last time I checked, this is only round 2. You best believe that the Oilers can continue to dominate with those guys on the ice for another round. They may not be able to win a cup and advance to the 4th round, but they can do so in the 2nd round. And that's not me being negative or pessimistic or doubtful in our abilities. It's just the truth. Those guys are superb. And it goes back to what I said 7 minutes ago. The Canucks have to be a lot better. And I say that not just for the obvious, but for this reason. It's because they can. Look at their lineup. We talk about that depth. We talk about having more than the Oilers spread out throughout our lineup. Well, then go prove it. Don't be pinned in your defensive zone for 20 to 25 minutes at a time, okay? Do that against the Oilers. We did it in game 1. Looked mad impressive for a 30-minute stretch, right? The second period to the third period. We could do it to them. And that's what they got to do. Straight up. The Canucks got to be a lot better if they want to win Game 4 in Edmonton and take a 3-1 series lead against those Edmonton Oilers. Okay, let's get to some comments. And then after the commercial break, we'll have Trevor Becks talking about the 3 players he's watching out for in this Game 4 game. And then after Trevor's done, we'll get to more comments, okay? Because for real, let's be honest. So where are we without you and you and you and you? You know, Trevor Beggs always says this, right? Beggsy, a member of the Illuminati, right? Beggsy's always saying, we're nowhere without our advertisers. Bro, what do you mean we're nowhere without our advertisers? That makes absolutely no sense. We're nowhere without the people. For real, man. For real. Look at this comment, okay, from Popeye, okay? I want to touch on this too. I think the league probably tried to suspend Zadorov too, right? Because maybe he could have gotten something for that cross-check to McDavid, right? Because it is Connor McDavid. It was maybe a scenario where the league was like, we got to suspend one of these guys, either Carson Soucy or Nikita Zadorov. I mean, Connor McDavid could have been paralyzed from that cross-check, okay? And I'm glad they chose Soucy. Nikita Zadorov is and has been our best defenseman in the playoffs. We're talking about excitement, right? We're talking about bringing the pain. We're talking about offense as well. We are lucky. We are fortunate. We are in a good position that, again, the league chose Soucy over Zadorov. What a player. Just the truth. How about this? Ricky D, the future is so bright for the Canucks. It's so bright that I need to wear my shades. Hey, man, it's 420 all the time, especially on game day. And that's why I'm wearing the shades. And, you know, I don't want to get too ahead of myself, but because we got to stay in the moment, right? But has anyone else envisioned some Swayman / Olmark type energy for the Canucks going into next season with Demko and Seelovs, right? And you kind of need that because Demko has proven that he's glass. He gets hurt. The 2-goalie system for the Canucks next season is going to really, really work. For, again, your Vancouver Canucks. Look at this comment, okay? Bad referees lead to frontier justice. Bro, what's going to happen tonight? Is Evander Kane going to man up and go after Zadorov? I don't think so. Maybe the Oilers get really emotional because, again, their captain got sandwiched. The dude got bent. That looked like a video game, okay? The dude looked like elastic. Again, the best player in the world. What are the Oilers going to do? They're probably going to take a couple penalties, and I wouldn't be surprised if, again, the Vancouver Canucks power play matches what the Oilers can do. And I know that sounds crazy because the Oilers have the best players in the world, but look at the other side. We've been complaining about our power play for the majority of the season, mainly because of the fact that it has a lot of star power. And when it's clicking, it can really click and be dominant. Look at D. Anderson. Okay, I see another Canucks win tonight. I like it, man. I like it. It's there for them. It's there for them. A lot of pressure on the Oilers. Calvin, Pickard, and Ned. If the Canucks are 50% better than they've been over the last 2 games and just as efficient on offense with that depth throughout their lineup, there's a chance for the Canucks to score a lot of goals. And again, assassinate this era of Oilers hockey. Anyways, we'll talk more about that in 10 to 12 minutes when we get back to the comments. Let's go to a commercial break, and then we have Trevor Beggs, okay? I think this guy's in Albuquerque, Nebraska, right? That's where he is? Albuquerque, Nebraska, Connecticut. And he recorded a little spiel on tonight's game as well. Anyways, you're listening to Locked On Canucks. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab. My name is Kyle Bowen. One love to you. And we'll talk to you soon here on Locked On Canucks.
It's winner take all time in the NBA and NHL. And FanDuel is giving you a shot to bring home a big win of your own. Right now, new customers get $150 in bonus bets with any winning $5 bet. That's $150 to bet on spreads, money lines, player props, and more. And if you want to look at tonight's game between your Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers, surprise, surprise, those Vancouver Canucks are pretty big underdogs, okay? Plus 160 on the money line on FanDuel to win. So you bet $10, get 26 back. The Edmonton Oilers minus 194. minus 194, okay? Even though they're starting a 32-year-old goalie, 32, 33, sorry, 31, 32. He's in that range, born in 92. They're starting a 32-year-old goalie playing his first playoff game. The Oilers are still heavy favorites in this game. And hey, if you believe in your Vancouver Canucks, that's not a bad little payday there. No matter what you're betting on in terms of the Vancouver Canucks, Oilers, or anything else, make sure you visit FanDuel.com/lockedon and make every playoff shot count. FanDuel, America's #1 sportsbook. Game 4. It's a big night for fans of the Vancouver Canucks and the Edmonton Oilers. It's also a huge night for these three guys that I'm going to bring up here in this segment. I'm Trevor Beggs, co-host of Locked On Canucks. And you know what? I might be living the vacation life, but that doesn't mean I got endless amounts of time, okay? And Kyle and I can't link up live today, but I did want to talk about, three guys who, again, are going to have a big night ahead in Game 4 in this series. Again, I think Kyle's got to touch on the Soucy suspension. I laid out my thoughts on it pretty clearly yesterday. Every Dayers know that. I do think the one game is kind of BS, to be honest. I mean, everyone's bringing up that Hyman cross-check. To me, it's a similar play. The Kane kick on Zadorov. I mean, it's the playoffs, man. Let it go. Stop being so soft. I did see Connor McCrybaby trending on Twitter. That's a far cry from Connor McJesus there. But let's not talk about those guys. I did want to talk about three guys, okay? Three guys who have a big night ahead in Game 4. And let's start with the Vancouver Canucks first, okay? Noah Juulsen, the pride of Surrey, okay? And if you're not an everydayer, if you're, barely an occasional listener, if you're a first-timer, if you're someone new to the program, Kyle and I, both from Surrey, British Columbia, okay? The pride of Surrey. People don't like to say that, okay? But we're proud to be from Surrey, okay? And Noah Juulsen, man, I know he's an Abbotsford native, but born in Surrey. He's a local kid, and he surprised the hell out of us this year, okay? Kyle and I both were ripping this guy early, and rightfully so. If you were watching this team in October, November, the team might have been winning games, but when Noah Juulsen was on the ice, bad things were happening. The guy had, plays were dying on his stick. He was out of position, but almost overnight, it seems like Adam Foote got to this guy. He figured it out, became a physical presence, pretty smart and simple with his puck moving up the ice, a physical menace, and most importantly, great on the penalty kill. Now, Noah Juulsen got into one playoff game, and it was Game 2 against the Nashville Predators, with Tyler Myers being sick that game. And Noah Juulsen did not have a good night. I believe he's on the ice for 3 goals against. He got walked by Philip Forsberg on one of the Nashville goals. But it's a big moment, man. It's a big moment to enter the playoffs, playing in front of the home crowd, being a local boy. I expect better from Noah Juulsen in Game 4 against the Edmonton Oilers. And I'm not going to say Noah Juulsen is going to come in here and be some savior for the penalty kill. Look, the Oilers are going to get their power play goals. If you keep them at 50%, you're probably doing your job. But I do like Noah Juulsen to potentially make another physical impact on this game. And again, you trade out Soucy for Juulsen. And so Soucy's obviously, he's a more polished player. He's more experienced. But Juulsen is more physical. The Canucks just got a little bit nastier tonight heading into this game against the Edmonton Oilers. In a series that the temperature is rising. And we saw it at the end of Game 3. We saw it throughout Games 2 and 3 after a pretty quiet Game 1. The temperature is rising in this series. And it's fair to say that I think the Canucks have been the more physical team. I heard something from Craig McTavish on Edmonton radio. Yeah, I know I'm in enemy territory right now, okay? And he was basically talking about how the Oilers have been a bit soft, that they need to step it up, ratchet it up a bit in terms of the physicality. And of course, take what these old hockey guys say with a grain of salt, because we talked about it yesterday. Some of these old hockey heads were calling for Soucy to be suspended for the rest of the playoffs. So some of these guys, they got no effing idea what they're talking about. But Craig McTavish, I thought, had some interesting points. Talked about how, he brought in Ryan Nugent-Hopkins and Elias Lindholm, and how Elias Lindholm was outplaying RNH. And again, RNH is a guy who had 100 points last season. He's supposed to be a big part of this Edmonton team. And Kyle and I have talked about it every day. This guy, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, has been quiet at even strength. And again, Ryan Nugent-Hopkins isn't just a supporting player. He's supposed to be a core piece of that team. He's not Connor and Leon, but he's an important player for the Edmonton Oilers. Again, the physicality has ratcheted up. And Noah Juulsen, the pride of Surrey, expect big physical things from that specimen tonight Now, let me switch to the Oilers for a second because you probably know by now, Calvin Pickard is getting the start in Game 4 for the Edmonton Oilers. It is his first career playoff start in the NHL after 139 career NHL games. He's played for 6 different teams. He basically had been out of the NHL until Jack Campbell, has self-imploded this season. Now, Calvin Pickard did not play NHL games last year. He played 3 in 2021, 2022 for the Detroit Red Wings. This guy, he started off when he came into the NHL, I think it was 2014-15. He was lights out for the Colorado Avalanche. I think he had a .932 save percentage, and he looked like the goalie of the future there. Then all of a sudden, he was manning the crease during that awful year where they finished last in the league and kind of killed his dreams of being an NHL starter. He's just floated around ever since. But Calvin Pickard, he's a safer option than Stuart Skinner. But you look at him this season. If only guys here, I'm recording in Rogers Arena right now for the YouTube viewers, but I'm on my knees in a bedroom. I'm doing the most for Locked On Canucks. Trying my best. Calvin Pickard, he's a safer player than Stuart Skinner. He's got more experience. He's got a better head on his shoulders. He does remind me a bit of a bigger Casey DeSmith in a way. But again, this isn't a guy that should scare you if you're a fan of the Vancouver Canucks. Calvin Pickard is a beatable goalie. Again, had a pretty good year so far this year behind an Oilers defense that had improved during the regular season. But as we've seen in these playoffs, aside from that Ekholm-Bouchard pair, the Oilers have not been good defensively. And we even saw some bad defensive plays from Hyman, Draisaitl, and McDavid, Again, they got all their chances at even strength in the second and third periods in Game 3. But where were they on that Besser goal, his first of the game, when he sniped it from the slot past Stuart Skinner with no one around? This is an Oilers team that scares you defensively. And to expect Calvin Pickard to come in here and be the savior of the Oilers, again, I don't think the Oilers are even expecting that. But hey, just to be a nice Canadian boy, shout out to Calvin Pickard, Moncton, New Brunswick. I do hope you let in about 6-7 goals tonight. But pride of Moncton, New Brunswick, making his first NHL start. And he actually only has 5 career AHL playoff games that he's played throughout, again, a few hundred career professional games. So this is a guy that has experience, but does not have a lot of experience in the postseason. But as we've seen, goaltending is weird. And hey, Artur Shilovs is an example of that. Now, it's one other guy I want to shout out here, okay? Again, this is Locked On Canucks, your Canucks every day. Wish I was recording with Kyle, but hey, it is what it is, man. It is what it is. The important thing is the Canucks get the dub. And one guy who's going to help the Canucks get the dub tonight is Elias Lindholm. Okay, and a bit different from Noah Juulsen and Calvin Pickard, because Noah Juulsen drawing into his second career playoff game, Calvin Pickard playing his first ever playoff game. Elias Lindholm has a few more under his belt, but he has been a force in this series. And Craig McTavish mentioned it. He's outplayed Ryan Nugent-Hopkins. And it just goes to show you that the regular season did not matter at all. We're all ripping this trade. And, it's a good thing Elias Lindholm's showing up, because Canucks gave up a lot for him, man. It didn't feel like an all-in season necessarily until the Canucks gave up a haul for Elias Lindholm. And, coming into the season, I think we all would have been pretty happy if the Canucks won a round. Made things interesting in the second round. But now that we're here and you're up 2-1 on the Edmonton Oilers, Canucks fans all want to see this happen. I don't think anyone's calling this a successful season. It doesn't feel like a successful season, at least, if you lose to the Oilers. And Elias Lindholm, again, one of the big reasons why he's been so good, I'm going to bring up is twofold. One is his line has been able to pick apart a brutal pairing of Nurse and Soucy. Again, I don't know what was I thinking. Why did I think Edmonton had a chance of winning the cup when they got a GM that paid Darnell Nurse and Jack Campbell a combined $14+ million per season? What was I thinking? Oh, almost dropped the laptop, buddy. But again, that's not our problem. Elias Lindholm, he's earning a big payday in free agency with his playoffs right now. 5 goals, 7 points in 9 games. A force on the penalty kill. He's been one of the biggest hitters on the Vancouver Canucks too, which I found surprising. Because you look at this guy in the regular season, he averaged a little over 4 hits per 60. It was one of the lowest totals in the Canucks. Here in the postseason, he's 6th on the Canucks averaging over 10 hits per 60. Only Dakota Joshua, JT Miller, Carson Soucy, Tyler Myers, and Nikita Zadorov have averaged more hits per 60 than Elias Lindholm in these playoffs. The guy's been a physical force, and especially in this series. This guy has a vendetta against the Edmonton Oilers for what they did to him when he was with the Calgary Flames. I'm guessing he heard the noise too. He probably didn't even need to hear the noise about him not playing his best hockey in that series against the Edmonton Oilers. And again, this guy's doing it not with Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau by his side, but Connor Garland and Dakota Joshua, who, as good as they've been, and Connor Garland, man oh man, has been another underrated player in this series. Again, obviously the big goal in game 1, but just tons of great little plays up the wall in the defensive zone. Connor Garland's been great, but they are not Matthew Tkachuk and Johnny Gaudreau. Hey, maybe Connor Garland's better than Johnny Gaudreau, though. Bold takes here on Locked On Canucks, baby. Those are my 3 guys to watch tonight. Noah Juleson, shout out to Surrey. Calvin Pickard, first career playoff game. Hope you led in 6 goals, buddy. And Elias Lindholm. Maybe he'll get more time against the Draisaitl line because, man, oh man, as this series goes on, you do wonder if you got to get JT Miller away from the Connor McDavid line a bit. And I know on the road here, the Canucks don't really have a choice, and the Oilers chose to match up against Miller's line. I wonder if they go away from that because, as much as they poured it on late in the game, that was more so due to game script. I felt like Miller's line did a really good job against the McDavid line in game 3. Maybe it's Elias Lindholm's line that gets more time against McDavid. And I feel okay about that because Lindholm, Garland, Joshua, they're a solid line right now. They're on one. Those are my 3 players for the game. Kyle will take care of you here for the rest of the show here on Locked On Canucks. Your Canucks every day. Go Canucks, go. Game 4 tonight. Let's go, baby. I'm in enemy territory, cheering on your Vancouver Canucks, repping my Canucks gear everywhere. Everywhere, baby. Because it's go Canucks, go. Go Canucks, go. Kyle's got you covered on the other side. After you shout out a couple sponsors here on Locked On Canucks. Okay, you know the deal. I'm in enemy territory right now, okay? Wainwright, Alberta, 2 hours east of Edmonton. Why am I here? Don't ask, okay? But I'm in enemy territory, repping my Canucks gear. And I know that is dangerous, okay? That's why I got to have a good life insurance policy. Help my wife and kids out in case something happens to me, okay? And I know the deal because if I need life insurance, I'm going to Policygenius. With Policygenius, you can find life insurance policies that start at just $292 per year for $1 million of coverage. Some options offer same-day approval and avoid unnecessary medical exams. That's right. Finger up my rear end to protect my wife and my family, okay? Policygenius, they help you compare your options from top companies, and their team of licensed experts is on hand to help talk you through it. Talk to a team of award-winning agents who will walk you through the process step by step and easily compare quotes from America's top insurers in just a few clicks to find your lowest price. Policygenius tells you or gives you unbiased advice from a licensed expert support team. They have no incentive to recommend one insurer over the other, so you can trust their guidance. And they have thousands of 5-star reviews on Google and Trustpilot from customers who found the best fit for their needs. Check life insurance off your to-do list in no time with Policygenius. Head to policygenius.com/LockedOnNHL or click the link in the description to get your free life insurance quotes and see how much you could save. That's policygenius.com/LockedOnNHL.
Man, we're going to have a lot of fun tonight in Vancouver, all my real fans.
Okay, we back doing this live for you and you and you and you and you and you on Locked On Canucks. One love to the Don't Doze Art Lab for, again, sponsoring that West Coast bias. And one love to Trevor Beggs, man, on his knees in a bedroom somewhere, talking about your Canucks, man. Again, this guy's in Illilouette. Like, where is this guy? Jasper, Nebraska, Idaho? Who knows? But he's always choosing the Canucks first, okay? I know he says he's a family man, but I'm pretty sure he missed a picnic to give you that. Anyways, your Vancouver Canucks, again, are playing in a handful of hours in a really, really important game in Edmonton. They become what? They become what if they win this game? One step closer to assassinating this era of Oilers hockey. And, the troll in me wants that to happen so bad. I want to become the most hated man in Edmonton, okay? For real. Just the truth. Now let's get to the comments before we get out of this stream. I'm going to enjoy the sunshine. I'm going to go chill on a rock. I'm going to go pretend it's 420 when it's like 10:30. Again, the only thing that matters is game 4 for me. My dreams, my work, my purpose, it's on halt for the first love of my life, and that's your Vancouver Canucks. So let's get to the comments and just spread that love, man. Look at this, okay? Jurgis Nemesis, okay, is saying, as a Latvian, I feel really proud for Shilovs, okay? As a Hindu, I'm speaking about myself now. I'm really proud of Archer Shilovs as well. Bro, this guy's probably inspiring a whole country to play goaltender, I'm sorry. Maybe Latvia becomes the next Finland when it comes to that connection. Oh, what a player. What a player. So much poise. So much talent, so much calmness. There was a play, right? I think it was in the first period. Score was 3-1 or 2-1. Evander Kane hits the post on a 2-on-1. Puck goes the other way, but immediately gets brought back into the zone by Darnell Nurse, and he breaks in like on a mini one-on-one. Prime time scoring chance. And again, this is right after Shilovs let a puck hit the post. And what does Shilovs do? He swallows the rebound. He sucks it up. He gets that face-off. He's never out of a play. He's never frazzled. Is that the word? He's never shooken up. Guy's got ice in his veins. The guy's also really humble. Takes it one save at a time. A great ambassador of Latvia, okay? Look at this. A comment from Jacob Cozy, all right? I'm confident, but I haven't even watched too many games with Calvin Pickard. So he's confident that we're still playing another goalie not named Stuart Skinner. Stuart Skinner, horrible goalie in the playoffs. One of the worst of all time. You can see, if I was an Oilers fan, again, you could just see the nerves. Nerves coming out of Stuart Skinner's game from game 1. You could tell this guy's not ready. He's scared of the talent the Vancouver Canucks have. He's not aware of where he's at. And he's a liability. So I guess what I'm trying to say is the Oilers just improved their goaltending by putting in Calvin Pickard. It's a quote-unquote whole different game. The Canucks cannot win this game with 14 shots. They can't do so with 18 shots. They can't get to overtime with 19 shots. They can't do that. They got to switch it up because Stuart Skinner is no longer in the game. And he was a great assist to us getting to a point where we're leading the series 2-1. That's just the truth. But look at this comment from Anthemous, okay? We faced a Vezina finalist in the last round and picked him apart when we needed to. He's not worried about Pickard. A lot of facts there, too. Look at Cali, okay? Go Canucks. Hello from California. Again, the Canucks somehow Mr. Worldwide when it comes to hockey in the NHL. No cup in 50-plus years. Only been past the second round 3 times. But again, the fans are all over the place. Look at Kurt Richardson. Post aren't good goaltending, laugh out loud. Draisaitl with that quote, right? Something else. Given Sheilov some more juice. I did not like that attitude from Leon Draisaitl. And I'm saying that if I, were on enemy territory and I was an Oilers fan, I would just want my team, after out shooting a team by 25 shots or 30 shots and dominating for 2 periods, I would just want my team to shut up and stick with the process and not give any fuel to the Vancouver Canucks. But I do think that if the Canucks do win this series and they do win it in 5 games and they talk about this series in retrospect, they will bring up that quote and talk about the lack of respect the Oilers are giving the Canucks. And we saw some of that lack of respect after game 1. I just hope, again, the boys rally around Shilovs, rally around that quote. I hope Shilovs locks in because of that quote and sticks it up the Oilers' rear end, okay? I can't wait. Look at this one, okay? Dylan McShane, what a name. I would change your name to Dylan Shane for this playoff series, okay? You probably have to get rid of the Mick. Anyways, Hyman will be a target. We'll have a target on him tonight because of his cheap shot against Nikita Zadorov. I don't know, man. I think Zadorov and the team, especially with the 2-1 lead and knowing that the Oilers' power play is like 70% of their mojo, I feel as if they're already forgotten about it. They're not holding grudges. They're not worried about it. They're taking it one game at a time. They're going to let it fuel the hate and the purpose, right, of defeating the Oilers, the team that nobody thought they had a chance against. On that note, though, I see some people 50-50 with this whole suspension thing with Soucy, right? Soucy gets suspended, cross-check to the face with a lot of force, aided by Zadorov's cross-check to the back of McDavid, blah, blah, blah. He gets suspended. How about Zach Hyman? How about his cross-check on Nikita Zadorov that drew blood? All right, the boy has to get stitches because Hyman was cheap and dirty. And there's some people out there saying that you can't compare the two, okay? The force was different. The intention was, I wouldn't say the intention was different. The intention was worse on Hyman's part. But again, the force, the power, it was different on Soucy's end in comparison to Hyman. And I don't get that. I don't get that. That makes no sense to me. Hyman intended to hurt Zadorov. He really did. And he did hurt him. Caused him to bleed. But there's Hyman getting nothing. Not even a $2,000 fine. Not even a $25 fine. Fine the guy for $10 at least. And that's not me complaining. That's just me stating the obvious. It was right in front of us. Give him the least. But whatever. Again, the Canucks will use that as fuel, man. If you don't think the Canucks know it's us against the world, then you're out for lunch. They know that. And all these shenanigans that are going against the Vancouver Canucks, it's going to lead to more attitude, more purpose, and a Game 4 win. Can't wait. Cannot wait. What other comments do we have here, man? We need a producer on the show, man. How about this mother knucker, Kyle? You look like a nun. Bro, I'm praying for a victory, man. Shout the towel power, man. Gotta love it. How about Frosty Balls, okay? Big Z will kick his ass. Big Z been kicking ass all series. Hey, I gotta mention this too. I know some people brought this up in the comments. I can't find them right now, but apparently, Draisaitl, man, missing practice and having his spot on the top line taken by Ryan Nugent-Hopkins, which tells me that, again, there's a chance that the Oilers split up that five-man unit that's been dominating the Vancouver Canucks, right? Maybe Draisaitl plays on a line of his own and does his thing. I'm pretty sure Ekholm missed practice as well. I just view that as maintenance days. I don't look at a guy like Leon Draisaitl ever missing playoff games. Okay, that guy cares too much. He has that attitude. I know I've been talking a lot of ish about him, but his competitive nature gets him into trouble sometimes, but also keeps him in the game. He's playing tonight, but he's probably playing on a separate line. I wonder how long that lasts. Because based on what I saw from game one and how much the Canucks were tilting the play for the majority of that game, if the Oilers aren't a one-line team, I don't think they're much of a team. On that note, though, I got to be accountable myself and bring up this point because we haven't really talked about it too much over the last 48 hours, and that's the fact that, yeah, the Oilers are a one-line team, but right now the Canucks are a two-line team. They really are when it comes to generating offense. Elias Pettersson, did you know this? He did not play the last 6 minutes of Game 3. We're talking about the $11.6 million man, the guy who gets paid almost $4 million more than JT Miller. And yes, I know he's playing with Ilya Mikheyev and Linus Carlson, a.k.a. AHLer, and Ilya Mikheyev. But man, oh man, that is not cool. That is not efficient enough. That's disturbing. Again, no minutes played in the last 6 minutes. It wasn't too long ago where we were raving about this guy's defensive play. I need to see a more purposeful game from a guy that I know, again, is playing with mediocre around him, but needs to be a dude, a dog. And this goes back to the whole JT Miller and his importance and his legacy with the Vancouver Canucks. Man, oh man. Now I get it. You know, we used to get comments all the time. There's no way that this team can move forward if Pettersson's getting paid that much more than JT Miller. And, you know, you bring up the whole age thing and how they're different players and Pettersson still has room to grow a lot. And this is what you got to do with your superstars and blah, blah, blah. Eventually this contract will look like it's a deal, a good deal for the Canucks, a great deal, a steal. But holy, what JT Miller is doing right now is keeping the forwards afloat. along with Lindholm as well. Bringing that energy, bringing that tenacity, bringing that playoff hockey consistently, shift after shift after shift. And that's even with him being dominated, quote unquote, in the defensive zone, like spending a lot of time there. He's still bringing the physicality. He's still doing something that's net positive for this team. And we're not seeing that on a shift by shift basis with Elias Pettersson. And you know what? We saw some strides in games 1 and 2. Did not see that in game 3. That's got to stop. It's got to stop. He's got to be an X factor, an important player from this point on for the rest of the series. Because it's quite clear. I know we've been pulling off miracles and Shelovs is doing his thing and stealing games and the boys are hustling and we're being more physical and we're being bullies, bro. A recipe for the Vancouver Canucks having success in the second round playoffs against a quote-unquote contender is having Pettersson be involved more. But think about the storylines. Like, let's say the Canucks beat the Oilers somehow, some way, with Pettersson only picking up 1 power play goal in the whole series and doing absolutely nothing 5-on-5. Think about the storylines. And I'm not talking about the negative storylines. We're talking about, again, JT Miller being a force. And as somebody saying, being an effing rock star. What a dude. Look at this comment from Dylan. Okay, I think Pettersson could do damage on the power play, but not so much 5-on-5 with the line mates he's getting. Okay, so I hope that he's not taking it too personal that Höglander is no longer his line mate, and now he's playing this playoff series where, you know, McDavid gets Draisaitl. Draisaitl gets McDavid. They also get Hyman. Miller gets Besser. Lindholm gets Garland and Joshua. And what do I get? What do I get? I'm Mr. 11.6. What do I get? Linus Karlsson? Ilya Mikheyev, who cannot hit an open net, would rather I feel as if this dude is playing darts. His purpose is not to hit the net. It's his purpose is to hit the middle of the crest on the opposing team. This is what I get. I hope he's not taking it too personal because that's not going to get him anywhere. But it's in my opinion slowing down the optimal route of offense for this team. And that's Pettersson playing with a lot of swagger. But you know what? Let's end the episode on a positive note. Look at Ernie, okay? Shout out to Ernie. I think Pettersson is going to wake up pretty soon, a.k.a. tonight. Pettersson, 2 goals, 1 assist. You heard it here first. My name's Kyle Bowen, and that was another episode of Locked On Canucks. Have fun today. Have fun tonight. Enjoy the sun. Be positive. I do believe the Canucks are going to dominate tonight like I always do, okay? If I had it my way, the Canucks would finish, do the math, 98-0, okay? 98-0. So, again, I think we're winning tonight 6-1. Pettersson, huge game tonight. Huge game. Doing his thing. One love to the Dotos Art Lab for, again, giving us the space for us to give this to you, right? They taking care of that West Coast bias every day. Again, one love to them. One love to the Locked On Podcast Network for giving us that culture, right? Giving us that motto, your Canucks every day. And one love to you and you and you and you and you and you as well for being here with us this morning and throughout the days and the games. Hit the like button if you haven't already. It really does help us out a lot. Every time you hit the like button, I get closer and closer and closer to taking my girlfriend to Cactus Club every week, every month. And you know what they say, right? Happy life or happy wife, happy life. And right now, bro, I'm choosing the Canucks over her. So do the math. Hit the like button and subscribe. Anyways, have a good morning, a good afternoon, a good night. Go Canucks go. If you're not watching this live, we do not know when you're listening or watching this, but hey, like always, we do appreciate it. Peace.
You're Locked On Canucks, your daily podcast on the Vancouver Canucks, part of the Locked On